Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to House of Commons. My name is Ike STeeLE, and to my left...
My name is Pascal Atuma, House of Commons.
LD Damola, House of Commons.
And Osuji, House of Commons.
House of Commons?
House of Commons, sir. Today we have a very interesting topic for you. What is the modern day man lacking? Members of the House of Commons, we're going to be talking about what we think the modern day man is lacking. Or, I don't know, you might think the modern day man is not lacking anything, but let's let it roll.
Can I start? Can I start this?
Oh, you guys are so passionate.
I want to start.
Wow, okay.
I've had this conversation with LD. We've talked about it several times. He's probably going to talk about stuff that I'm not going to talk about. So I'll just talk about something different then, just to start it off. So, one of my friends, she was talking about how women were, they're still raised to look for certain things in a man. The man that is willing to sacrifice for his woman. A man that's willing to provide, that he's, who's willing to if she doesn't have any money, or she doesn't have any money and he has something, he will put himself down to help her. A gentleman, whatever that is. That's how a lot of these women supposedly are raised these days. But men don't measure up to that these days because, a few reasons. Number one, their fathers are not teaching them those things anymore. That's something of the last generation really to get into. That is our generation really that was taught, hold the door, do this, those kind of things. I mean, and there's a bigger issue. They're going to discuss all those other things. But why I started with this is because a lot of women expect subconsciously and consciously certain things from a man. And a lot of the reasons why these men don't, behave like this, a lot of them don't feel like a lot of these women are worth doing these things for. What would I get out of it? And then they've never been taught these things. And when your father is not going to tell you how to do it, but he shows you, you figure out how you do it, but he tells you how to do something. I think your mother is in the sense is your mother is kind of like, don't do this, don't do that, telling you what to do instead of you learning how to do things on your own. So these are the things that it's you will learn by modeling. We learn by seeing our parents do things. We learn by those things. If you don't have those examples, you won't be able to do that. So that y'all go run with it. But that's what I wanted to start it off.
Okay. I want to start by saying there's no better thing in life than being a man.
Amen.
I'm just gonna be
Say one more time.
I don't think there's anything better in this world than being a man. And ladies, for you, think that way about yourself as well. But I think it's important for us to actually have this topic today, and we're going to go into a lot. The modern day man is lacking swagger, ego, pride, self-respect. The modern day man is immature. The modern day man's morals, and this is just generalization of what is being marketed as manhood. Being God-fearing, the modern day man is lacking that. Those of us who are affluent enough to understand the importance of these things that I'm mentioning know why it's important. I will say this, and I want to say this clearly, and I want to shout out my father, right? I want to shout out first my grandfathers and my uncles, the people who I grew up looking up to in Nigeria. These were men. Yeah. They didn't speak too much. They didn't talk that much. They had their small circle of friends. But the egos in the room, the pride in the room, we knew what we had to do as grandkids when Grandpa was coming downstairs. We knew how we had to act. We knew we never saw Grandpa raising his voice because Grandpa had too much ego and swagger to do that. And I'm going to go into a lot of stuff, but the reason why I'm going to shout out my dad is because the messages and the training I get from my dad every day that I didn't get before because we disconnected for some time. But I realized then why it's important to, number one, not be apologetic as a man. We're going to go into a lot, but...
That's a little bit controversial, though.
No, but we're going to go into it. But it's important that I say it that way. But lo and behold, nonetheless, that is what I believe the modern day man is lacking right now.
Oh, Pascal.
Can we go?
Yeah, you go. I'm moderating.
Okay. Before I go, what is a modern man?
What is the modern man?
Yeah. Who is a modern man?
Okay.
Generalize.
Look, for me, a modern man is a man that's caught up in this Tinder age.
Did you say Tinder?
Tinder age.
That's a
Tinder.
modern man.
Tinder age, yeah.
And are you using Tinder as
No,
a generalization for
I'm
social
coming,
media?
I'm coming, yeah. A modern man is a man that is caught up in this social media crazy world. A man that is caught up in a Facebook kind of game. A man that's caught up on Twitter. A man who's justified by how many number of views you have on Instagram. How many number. A man who's justified by
How many girls you can
how
see?
many girls you can spin. A man who's justified by what kind of car you
I like you said that. How many ways you can spin?
Yeah. I'm being real.
No, it's serious.
That's serious.
Yeah. A man who's justified by what kind of car you drive. A man who's justified what kind of what you're wearing on your body. A man who's justified by how many bottles you can pop in a club, even though you're homeless, right? A man who's justified by just being fake and not real. Because the men like my parents, like my dad, like your dad, they were men of substance. If you listen to Jidena's music, he said, I'm a classic man. I'm a classic man. Those men were classic, but with some swagger.
Swag.
That's the swagger was so exceptional and so clean that when I see my father's pictures sometimes when he was a big boy, when he was our age, I get jealous because they had the swag, they had it together, and they were real people.
They were put together.
They were put together.
Man.
They were trained. They were groomed. They had foundation. They were grounded.
Yeah.
But they
That's
were
the
grounded.
yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? But I'm not gonna talk about myself or my brothers. I have 3 brothers. All my brothers were grounded because we were trained by a grounded guy. See what I'm saying? So when people, sometimes I deal with people, and then when people see you, they think you're arrogant or cocky. It's not being arrogant or cocky. It's because I weighed myself with you, and on the scale you weigh 0/10. I weigh 9/10. Well, then why do I say I weigh 9/10? I weigh 9/10 not because of the amount of money in my pocket.
Standard.
I weigh 9/10 not because of how many houses I have or how many cars I drive, but because of the standard that was instilled in me when I was young.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying? So now, most modern men don't have that.
Yeah.
Am I making sense?
Yeah.
I give you an example. If I say this now, some people might say, yeah, don't say that, you should not so boast about it. I've never been to jail since I was born. I'm not going to jail for anybody unless by mistake. But the only jail I'm going to go to is political jail. I might make
So you're really going to go into politics?
I don't. But that's
The ego, man.
Are you going to
My God.
But do you understand what I'm saying?
I really don't.
The only way I'm going to go to jail, it has to be politically connected. I'm going to fight for something I believe in, and you don't believe in it, you put me in jail, good. I'll be going to jail saying hi. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It's so rare these days.
Go to jail
Pride,
because,
swagger.
because I'm going for what I believe in. I'm going for a cause. You understand what I'm saying? So, a modern man, actually, I'm ashamed to belong to this generation.
Yo, please,
Wow.
cheers.
Okay.
Am I making sense?
Cheers.
All right, we're gonna go deep.
Am I making sense?
Cheers.
So, so the modern men, we lack everything that our parents had.
Yeah.
The only thing we have to boast about is the stupid shit. Like being able to stay here and spin again in Australia. Being able to get on FaceTime and speak swagger. Being able to swag our clothes and sag. Being able to cut hair and make it
My brother, it's okay. We'll go to relax now. You won't kill, man. Relax.
Yeah, really prepared. Okay. Well, I think, yeah, I mean, to piggyback on what you guys have said, I think the modern day man lacks everything you guys have said. And I see you've done your research, that's good. But I also think the modern day man lacks a lot of confidence and a lot of definition. And when I say definition, I mean, if you don't have any definition for yourself, then you're bound to be defined by others or society or environment, and people will always define you based on where they want you to be. Nobody will ever define you to make you better than them or better than any race or better than any society or any people. Okay, if you don't have a definition for yourself, that is where the problem first of all is. So like, I know we're going to go deeply into a lot of things, and feel free to challenge each other so we can bring out some
We're
truth
about to go there.
or exactly. So bring out the details in what we're talking about. Like for you, because you defined a lot.
Yeah.
Do
And
you
I
wanna
understand,
do you wanna
absolutely.
do you wanna dive
yeah,
in now?
Yeah, and I'll start by saying I went to high school in Los Angeles, California,
Okay.
and it was my group of friends. There were about 6 of us in total.
Okay.
Right? Myself, I'm not gonna mention the names personally. L, M, we had B, D, and A. Right? These are my friends, and these are all African Americans. So myself and 5 other African American friends. Of all of us, there was only one of us that lived with his mother and father. Now, I'm not saying life was easier for him, right? But he had a path set, ready. His parents worked, a household, and I always looked at how he approached life, and I didn't understand why he was so sure about every decision he made. I didn't get it, right? Now, I was fortunate to be raised in Nigeria, right? With my grandmother and grandfather, and my grandfather and grandmother, both on my mom and dad's side. So, and living in Nigeria, the community raises you. But my direct family was not united. My mother and father separated when I was young. So, a lot of times you said something about they will define you, right? I felt so apologetic for being myself a lot of times. I was not sure. I was very undecided a lot. So were my other friends, because it doesn't stop at 13. It doesn't stop at 17. It goes all the way to 90 till death.
Yeah.
If you never get grounded
Define yourself.
ever. Now, my friend who I'm talking about, who was so sure, master's degree, now has his own child, started his own family. It's not that life is easy for him, but he didn't have to reinvent the wheel, because he already had that direct impact. And I remember when I was working at the bank. Now, I'm gonna be honest, for someone who's lived in Los Angeles, California, and being Nigerian, you really don't have any excuse. They give you a pattern, what that way or what that is.
Right.
But I remember standing at my job, and one of my friends, Sean, he was a young Armenian banker. At the time, I was 19. He was 20. He used to wear a suit, and he was so respected as, this guy is so respected, and you just respected the guy. And I remember standing at the teller line like, I gotta be there. I've gotta be that guy who's respected. Now, at first, I didn't think it was possible. Until I started pushing myself like, you know what? Be that guy who's respected. And it seemed like a little thing until I look back at it and I'm like, you know what? These things, these journeys that a lot of men travel these days alone are so uncharted.
So he was kind of a role model.
A role model.
Wow.
Somebody who I looked at and I was like, you know what? I've got to be that guy who's respected, because he didn't talk. He reminded me a lot of my grandfather. He didn't talk that much.
So the guy of action.
Just action. Didn't speak. The swag was on point, and he was always.
He was confident.
Confident.
He knew what he wanted.
He knew what he wanted, and please cut me off anytime. But the reason why this episode is extremely important is because I don't know the statistics, but I would not be surprised if 85% of every race of men are growing up without fathers.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I come in?
I was going to say.
Okay,
something.
go ahead before I come.
This is you're basically touching on what I started off by saying. A lot of us aren't privileged enough to at least see or be around or be given that advice or that upbringing by their father to be like, you know what, they're teaching them how to be a man. That's how, and a lot of times you learn how to be a man. Now, when you go back home, like you said, the village, when you go into your village, you go around, you see how men interact with each other. Grown men, when you're a kid, you see how everybody behaves. You see how they sit. It's modeling once again, and it's also when, like you guys are talking about, that sense of confidence and knowing yourself. I had to really, really, really dig into my stuff. Like really get into my what makes me tick as a guy.
Right.
To really find myself, to really understand what I want in life, and understand my standards as a man.
By the way, church interrupt. At what age though? I mean, you go give us a time frame. You don't have to tell me this time.
Recently.
Wow.
I started my journey doing this when I was about 25.
Wow.
And I realized that I have my own personality, my own life, and I'm my own man, and I need to be respected in what I do and what I believe in. And my dad couldn't do all of that for me. I had to do a lot of that myself and figure out a lot of stuff on my own. But I was privileged to have a dad at least this is how he behaved. This is how he handled certain situations. And if you don't see that, if you don't know that, if you don't have that privilege, and it may not need to be your father, some male figure in your life that shows you. But when we talk about, and not to get into specifics about different communities, but you start to see in certain communities, there are no male figures at all. So you say you don't have a popsy, okay, there's no popsy, okay, maybe there's an uncle there. There's no uncle there. Wow. There's no this thing. There's nobody that is a man that is in his own right and is in you trying to grow up as a man. You need that. A woman cannot teach you how to be a man. I'm sorry, a lot of women don't like to hear that.
Look at the camera and say that, bro.
A woman cannot teach a man how to be a man. Stop trying to justify, well, I raised him right, he came up right. Nonsense.
And we've said this certain
It's nonsense.
We're sorry to cut you off. We've said this in certain episodes. Several episodes. For the single mothers who are raising men, congratulations, I respect you.
I have a lot of respect for them.
Absolutely.
Too much respect for them. And some of them do a good job of it, but you still can't teach
a lot
a
of
man.
them do a good job.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it is extremely important for a man to be in a man's life.
All right.
Amen.
Pascal, you have something to say?
Put it up.
Because I have something to
I'm
say.
on a tangent.
No, that's good though. That's good.
When you guys brought up this topic, when you guys brought up this topic, I was wondering where you guys are going with it, but now it's kind of even difficult for me to go deep into it because the man that I can speak of is already gone. It's my dad. You know what I'm saying? And as I was listening to you speak and I was listening to Enyi, my mind was going and I'm going like, wow. Before my father died, he was the king of my place, my dad, right? So he's been gone for a year now, a year plus, and I'm going to make this personal. That's the only way I can explain what.
That's the beauty of House of Commons. Do it.
So my father died. It's been more than a year since my father died. So our community has been without a king for a year because it's a tradition that they have to mourn him for a year before someone replaces him. Right. Now my brother Oscar is a PhD holder. He's a lecturer at University of Abuja. So I went to the village. I was in Nigeria 2 weeks ago. And my brother says, I think I should be the king. My brother.
You or
my
him?
brother.
Oscar himself should be the king. Okay.
My brother said, I think I should be the king. So we were upstairs in our village house. I said, why? He said, because if I don't become the king of this place, our people will lose. That's what Oscar said. So our people will lose. I said, what do you mean? What about all these other people? They can be it. He said, no, because they didn't get the training that my father gave us. And Oscar said, the only way this community can move forward from where he started is one of us becoming the king. And then I said, bros, you're on your own. Me, I want to make movies.
He wants to make king movies.
I said, my brother, I'm going into this topic. I said, I want to make movies. He said, yes, you can make movies all you want, but we need to talk about this. One of us needs to take it. I said, but we don't need this because my daughter lives here. All our nephews and our nieces, everybody live in America. Right? He said, but that's America. Somebody built America. We need to build our own place. So after he said it, I got a little emotional and I looked at him and I said, why? He said, because if we don't do it, it will go into the wrong hands. Who doesn't know what we know? And we're just going to be sitting down and watching as a blind person lead us when we know that we have everything it takes to lead this community and change this community. We went to sleep that night. This was just 2 weeks ago. So we went to sleep that night about 4 a.m. I woke him up. We have in the village, right? We have a 9-bedroom. This is a
House.
9-bedroom house,
Right.
up and down. But I sleep in the 7 with my brother, but we're very close. So we have all the rooms have beds, but we sleep in the same room. So I woke him up. I said, "You say you want to be the king?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "Let's go. Let's start the race." Within 24 hours, we covered every community we need to cover to let them know we want it. And they don't know why we want it. They don't know why we want it, you know what I'm saying? We don't need anything from that place. But we know that we are the only people that have what it takes to liberate that community.
But you see, that is
Do you understand?
standing for something
Yeah, it's what I'm saying. We,
greater than you.
yeah, it's no longer about
Amen.
Pascal, it's no longer about me, but we know. But you see, some people want to become the king, they
Just
are for the wrong reasons.
Right.
But the topic is, what do modern men lack? But those people, they lack something. What they lack is the knowledge that we studied from this man when I was your king from childhood. My father played politics. So we saw people coming for meetings 2 a.m., leave. People coming for meetings 3 a.m., leave. That time that we were witnessing that as young kids, serving these people, you and your parents were sleeping.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm making sense. So what most modern men lack today is that fatherhood.
Yeah.
That training
Leadership
that
example.
should have been given to them when they were young. Just like you plant a little animal, so a little plant, and you water that plant to grow. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I for the first time, I accepted, I said, okay, since you want it, go for it. Because now I know that my brother doesn't need it for himself.
For self-glorification.
For self-glorification. But he needs it to liberate our people.
Betterment.
And who is better traveled in our area than both of us to bring in
Different ideas.
different ideas into the community? So what most modern men lack is the vision, the training to know that vision is the way to lead. And secondly, a lot of men lack, like you guys said, the father to teach them how to be a man and how to be a leader.
Yeah.
Can I finish?
Mm-hmm.
I have to teach them how to be a man, how to be a leader. And another thing that most men lack is how to be selfless. How to be selfless.
That's deep.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Because it is selfishness that makes people want to assume a position that they know that they cannot
They are
handle.
not, Dude.
They think that the
They're
position is
not
going to
rightful.
make them in mind.
It
But
is-
you need to already be a certain type of man before you get
It
there.
is selfishness that makes people know that this person is bigger than me. This person know more than me. But the ego, the selfish ego in them will not let them sit back and let the real driver drive the car. Instead, they want to drive.
That's deep. That's deep. Well, yeah, that was deep, man.
Yeah,
You got kind of emotional.
Yeah,
man.
because I didn't know
Almost
where we were going.
teary-eyed.
I didn't know where
That's all good. We ain't even
That's
started.
it.
It's all good.
No, real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm just saying something real quick. I mean, part of the examples, and you mentioned a certain community. Excuse me. Part of our conversation, it was amazing to me. This was someone at work. This is a grown man. This man is in his 50s. And they say, a fool at 40 is a fool forever. Exactly. And well, just quick chip into what you just said. People, I think it's biblical, it says, my people perish for lack of vision. Vision. When there's a lack of vision.
Without vision will always perish.
Yeah, so vision is very important. Okay, continue with what I was saying. There was an example at work. I'm not saying which work. There's somebody I work with. He's Asian. Okay, he's Asian. This man is in his 50s, and at 50, this single, no kids, not married. Okay, I didn't realize this is when we were talking about confidence and swagger, defining who you are. Is deep. It's very deep. So I met an Asian girl. you know, and I was telling this man, as a matter of fact, because she's from exact country as this man, I don't want to name the countries though, and I'm like, okay, wow, can you speak your language to this girl? And because, you know, language is a bond, you know, and do you know this man melted, almost passed out just with the fact that I said he should talk to a female. And I'm like, wow, this is a 50 man in his 50s has no confidence to talk to a female. You know, that goes a lot to say, you know, look, I was a late bloomer, quite well.
You bloomed.
I didn't really have I didn't really have those uncles, because I mean there's a lot of things about being a man that I couldn't talk with my father. But you needed somebody to guide me. I needed some kind of uncles or brothers or older ones to help me. You know, I bloomed late. So when I'm looking at my nephews now, you know, the young ones, and I talk some manly things with them, they get so shy, and so like. Well, like, uncle, are you serious? I don't want to. It's very important. I know the usefulness and importance of those things. See, growing up, I know some boys that helped me overcome my shyness to talk to girls or to be with a woman. The first time, look, I told you guys, I'm a late bloomer. I didn't have my first sex until I was in college.
Congratulations.
And I met a girl that wanted to date me or hang out with me. So I went and told my friend, what do I do? I was telling my fellow guy. And he
That's
told
when
me,
you're like 29?
no.
I'm just kidding. I'm just joking.
Well, so I was asking him, what do I do? What do I do? So he told me, okay, well, first of all, she wants to come to see you, right? That's a big plus already. You don't have to do much. Hold her hand, pull her clothes, try to kiss her, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what? I'm like,
pull her clothes?
Okay,
we're talking about...
I was 21.
Yeah, that's not
I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know what to do.
Pascal Atuma. I was retired.
Okay, so you see, part of this conversation is, you know, we need men. You see, most times when some men are disrespectful to women, is because they didn't have any figure to show them any other way how to treat a woman like a lady. You know, that is missing. Two, they don't have that, you know. Yeah, you want to say something?
I want to add something.
Yeah, add to it. Go on.
You go ahead.
Okay, so I'm gonna say something. It's gonna start from the Nigerian perspective, and it's gonna kind of carry over. The value, you mentioned something about value, right? Growing up, the society painted a picture that a man was valuable based on valuables, like things.
Yeah,
Money, cars, clothing.
But it's not.
I started working at the bank, right? And some of the most humble, simply dressed human beings I ever saw in my life. I was working in Burbank, California. If you know where Burbank, California is, that's where Disney, Paramount, all the studios you can imagine are in Burbank. That's where they actually have their real studios. I worked at a bank right next to these studios, next to millionaires, right? And the stuff that they value the most. This is why I kind of laugh sometimes when people talk about rich people. The ones I met, humble.
Very humble.
Very God-fearing. Very God-fearing. Very, very, very God-fearing people. Right? Family-oriented.
Very simple.
Simple people. They drove the car that went from point A to point B. And I noticed something about those who don't have seem to be the ones that stunted the most. Right?
What do you say?
You know, and that is one trap that a lot of men fall in. When you base your value on things and your wisdom is shot.
Let me why though?
Okay.
Why? I know why.
Let me ask
But why?
another question. I'll answer with when you said those who don't have. who's just an actor. I'm a writer, director, producer. I can hire that motherfucker 30 times.
That's what I don't want to be angry.
Say mother F.
Okay, I can hire this mother F 30 times, pay him 40 times. You understand what I'm saying? Then we have to do a show together. They send us 2 economy class tickets. I said, okay, that's fine. I'll fly the economy class ticket. This dude said he's not gonna fly economy.
It's only first
Because
class.
he's a big tall.
He only flies first class and business class. I pick up my phone, I call him, I said, bro, please, these guys, they're already gonna pay us, right? They don't have the money to fly us to business class or first class. The flight is only 3.5 hours. We can do economy, man. We can do AC through, do economy. This dude says, no, I'm not gonna do it. I thought it was a joke. He didn't show up for the show.
Is he American or Nigerian?
I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say that. So this
Right,
dude didn't show up. Now, to answer your question, right?
Yeah. Why?
I'm sitting there wondering, I can afford to buy a business class ticket. If you push come to shove, if they say you buy your own ticket, he can afford it.
Wow,
Am I making
that
sense?
explains the mentality right there.
So if I, who is your boss,
Yeah.
would agree to fly economy plus ticket, who the F are you? Do you understand what I'm saying? But now, let me add to that. Now, you want to go and see the business class ticket and discuss with business people. When they start speaking the language of business, what will you have to offer? Because people, people want to go where they don't belong. Do you understand what I'm saying? If I see the business class ticket, I can discuss distribution. I can discuss production. I can discuss financing. What can you discuss? We are not discussing script in business class. Script is for people that will give the employees that will give you to work letter.
Wow.
Right? Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's always people that don't have that wants to show that they have.
But the
people that have don't want you to know they have.
And to me, right, I always say a man who respects a coward is a bigger coward, right? And there are a lot of cowards that are being respected these days.
Wow.
And we're gonna go into that.
Right.
Don't trip.
Yeah.
Trip.
And that's the thing I wonder, like, when you really are a man, you know yourself, you know your space, you know what you are, you know what your situation, you know your worth, you know your. And it's not, when I say you know your place, it's not this. This is not. I'm not talking about no kingdom where you're a servant. But you know where you are. You respect that, and you don't let that define you, because what these people are trying to do, because of the question I'm still waiting to be answered, is they're waiting for something to define them, to give them some sort of value. That's why these people. It makes sense that the millionaires have a millionaire's mindset, so they had to look at life a completely different way. Then you have the people who are not quite there yet at all, and they're trying to overcompensate. Why? Especially in the place that we work and live, you see people, you go into these various places, what do? They barely can afford to get in, or barely afford to live, but they somehow put their pennies together and pop bottles, just so somebody can say they popped a bottle. But that's not you. You're not there. That's not you. But that's what gives you value.
Right.
Because you don't have it, but that's what gives you value.
Can I add something to that Ike Onuoha?
Okay.
That's what you think that gives you value.
Exactly. That's what thinks. Of course.
Of course.
But the big boys who already have been there,
Come on, man.
right? Know that. Okay, I'll give you some. I party with Ike more than I party with you guys. We come into a club, Ike, you see sometimes. Ike know that this will work for us. They're on the VIP, popping bottles. we are standing by the bar. I'm buying our little shot to drink. And I'm looking at this people and I'm going like, Ike, where did this guy get money to pop this bottle? Because why am I saying that? I know how much you make.
He said, "No, how much you make."
You understand what I'm saying?
Well,
I know how much you make.
yeah.
And you don't understand the VIP spaces in clubs. The reason why they are there is to protect the VIP customers that come in there for security reasons. It's not for you to come and pay for it. Nobody's looking for you.
Spend your rent.
And I want to add one thing. I've gone out with y'all before, and I've seen people like that night. I saw some like some known celebrity. I don't want to say who she is. And she wasn't about that life. She was like, hey, very humble, cool. She wasn't about that at all.
No.
And everybody knows who she is. And I'm like, wow, like.
And you see some people that don't have nothing to protect.
Well,
and VIP, they don't understand it.
That's crazy. Go ahead. Sorry.
We're all saying,
Sorry.
I guess we're all saying the same thing in slightly different way. And again, to add to what everybody's saying, I used to live in the valley here in Sherman Oaks, and I moved out of here to Palmdale. Something happened yesterday. I came to this side of the Sherman Oaks, the Studio City, to party. Well, I didn't really come to party. I came for a meeting, but the meeting finished. No, the meeting finished early. I called you, you were sleeping. The meeting finished early, so I was like, wow, I have a lot of time. What do? I'm already here. I went to Studio City, right? I parked in the street. I saw two Mercedes G-Wagon enter one apartment. I'm like, wow, what's going on? There's two different, and I'm talking about high-end, G-Wagon. Those cars are like $110,000.
Yeah.
That's even for 2014 model. If you want to go for 2015 or 2016, you're talking about 130, 150. Those kind of cars, they make about $1,000 a year. Okay? Entering apartments and being parked in carport. I'm like, wow, only LA. I was so happy that I don't live in this side of town because I'm not impressed by those things anymore. I used to think that those are the things that define you. Let me finish. So I saw two of them, black, and the other one was like a high purple. Like it must be owned by a female because the color was so shouting and the way it was souped up. I'm like, wow. Parked in the carport in an apartment. That car can buy a house in some part of town. If you move like an hour away from that, you can buy a house really because but you park that. See, this is a thing we're talking about, things that define people and things that you pay in interest. Now, I'm not saying don't buy a nice looking car. Mark Cuban just bought one of the fastest, most expensive jets. Okay?
What do you call it?
Exactly. Mark Cuban. I'm coming. You see, when rich people do stuff like that, they do it for tax reasons because it's a write-off. They're looking for ways to. Their CPAs even push them to buy this because now they can write things off. They can legitimately save money. It works to their advantage. The more expensive things they buy. But when people try to keep up with the Joneses, like when we're talking about cars and jets, bring it down to purses, to Louis Vuitton. There are some people working minimum wage jobs in hospitals or wherever establishment and carrying Louis Vuitton purses, carrying Prada and Coach purses. No, we're gonna tie it together. We're tying it together. Okay? You don't think it's tied together?
Of course it's tied together. There's some major points that we got.
I want to go back to something real quick. And the reason I want to go back to something is all the jets, the everything. Why? What is the motivation behind doing these things? It's not just about value. Because the reason I'm bringing this up is because our audience
are women.
Period.
Now let me say that's what I was.
Our audience are women. And specifically at this moment in time, from what I've seen, there are other people, but I'm minority women. They're the people that watch our show for the most part.
Majority
are minority women. I want to ask y'all, I'm not going to hit it right now, obviously, but I want to ask y'all, what do y'all think? Because a lot of these men do it to impress y'all. They do it, and depending on where you are, if you're in Houston, if you're in some other places, and maybe like that there too. If you're in other places, you may not need to do as much, but here in LA, if you ain't presenting yourself a certain way,
well, let me say something. Hold up.
You're not going to get no play by the one.
That's a lie. And let me tell you this. Let me just say, and I'm glad we got to this point.
That's the thought process, though.
We've got to get to this point. I'm glad we got to this point because I wanted to talk about the role that women play.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
In the disgrace that men are these days.
Hey.
But
before you start, I'm so sorry. They don't take accountability for stuff. A lot of times they do not take accountability.
That's fine. But I always say this, right? And I always say this all the time.
Right? All right. No, I'm just checking if your coffee is still.
But the role that, and I don't want to say ladies. I don't want to use this term, but these ain't loyal, those chicks that he's mentioning in those songs, the reason why they get glorified these days, like these unladies, the reason why they get glorified these days is because the position that men don't know they should play. There's no reason why a girl with no wisdom, with no knowledge, should get glorified. To be quite honest with you,
Can I come
right?
Can I come
Yeah.
The topic is what do modern men lack? One of the things that modern men lack is they lack the sense to know where they belong. They lack the sense. They lack the sense to know their height. They lack the sense to know their weight. So somebody is at 5 feet, but we're trying to showcase women that he's 6 feet.
I don't think that's bad, bro.
Hold on. Hold on. I'm coming. Somebody weighs 150 pounds, but you want. I'm just using that as a analogy. So bringing it back to real life situation. If someone that doesn't have up to $10,000 savings in his account is taking you out and popping bottles, that's a problem. Because $10,000 can go just like that. Right? If someone that lives in an apartment is showing up with a Rolls Royce or a Lamborghini or a G-Wagon.
Which is very common in LA.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Very common.
Okay. You need to check something. There might not be a problem, but what you need to check is what kind of investments does he have? What kind of business does he do?
What kind of goals does
What kind of
this
goals?
fool
Well,
have?
see, this is what I'm saying is this. You can be, I'll give you an example, you can be a music mogul in New York, right? And you want to come out here to have meetings. And you can just keep a small apartment here, but have a machine that you can use to go to your meetings. And in that situation, if you park those kind of machines in your apartment, it's understandable. But if you're women.
Now, when you say machine, you mean like the Rolls Royce?
Yes,
Right.
yeah, for their meetings, right? That's understandable.
Yeah.
But for my sisters out there, the way you can help these modern men to get what they don't have is this. If you get in that situation, ask him first of all, is this your home? Am I making sense? If you ask him first of all, you say, is this your home? And he says, oh, I have a home in New York. This is just my apartment in LA where I stay when I come to do my meetings. That means he's well to do enough to keep an apartment here, that he doesn't live permanently, keep a machine here that he uses, and then go out to New York where his home is. The other thing too, my sister needing to find out from these modern men that can help them is what kind of investments do they have? Like me, I don't have money stacked up in the bank, but I do have a catalog of films. And those my catalog of films, those are my investments. And that's why I plan to keep building more catalog of films so that when I get tired, I will start selling my shit little by little and take care of myself.
Wow.
Am I making sense? Yeah.
I want to say something because we've mentioned a lot of extreme success, right? I want to take it to the very foundation, the very basic.
So the common people.
Common. There's a movie called Daddy's Little Girls, right? Have you guys seen that?
Yeah. Tyler Perry.
Tyler Perry,
Idris.
Daddy's Little Girls.
Idris was
Idris
the
Elba.
actor, yeah.
There's a mechanic with 3 daughters, and there's a very highly successful woman who's not at his standards or whatever the case would be.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this, and it's going to sound very, what do they call it, misogynistic or whatever it's called. In the animal kingdom, the lion is king, and the lion is king, and the lion is king, and the lion is king. That is it. There seems to be an agenda of emasculation that is taking place in society where a man who stands his ground or stands up for what he believes in and his ego and his perspective in life is kind of crucified for. That's why I said
Demonized.
Demonized.
That's why I said don't apologize for being a man.
That's why I said don't be apologetic. This is the reason I say that. I mentioned a lot about valuable things that people think puts value in a man. I always sit back and smile these days when we live in Los Angeles, California, and you hear a lot of the independent lady talk. And I don't fault them because truthfully, as we've mentioned, there are a lot of men that are not qualified to even talk to, right? But
can I say it where people understand it?
Go.
There's a lot of men that are useless.
Useless.
Okay, go ahead.
okay, now let me say one thing that will save a lot of men from being useless. the standard at which you think you should play, the value that you think is value, is probably what is kidnapping your manhood.
Yeah.
Truthfully. The fact that you think that you need an $80,000 paying job, an $80,000 car, a house, wherever, the fact that you value things that are not really valuable and you think that is the standard you need to play out to get certain girls is you lying to yourself.
Yeah.
Daddy's Little Girls is a good movie to watch. A man with something to stand for, a man with pride, ego, respect, vision, God-fearing, I hate to say it this way, can get any girl in any club.
Women are not that hard. It's not supposed to be that difficult.
Let me just
It's not that difficult.
Hold up.
Let me comment.
It's not supposed to be like this.
Let me just finish. I'm sorry. And the reason why I need to say it is this, because a lot of men, I told a girl this once, I hate to talk, to bring women into this picture, but we can't deny that they play a large role, a big role in. Hold on, let me just finish. I remember in 2005, 2008, I'm serious. When it was cool to clown the guy who had ugly shoes, or he had fake shoes. Oh, he ain't got the real,
Yeah.
It was cool to do that. And then time starts passing and maturity starts getting into play. And you start noticing that maybe those things were not that important. It was what the man actually was.
Yeah.
The actual being of a man and his perspective in life was actually what was valuable. So a lot of men ran away from themselves because they thought they had to meet a certain standard that they were getting clowned for not being at.
Yeah.
So these things defined men thinking that that's what made them men. And that also comes from them not having fathers to tell them, hey, that's not what makes you a man.
Yeah.
This is what makes you a man.
Yeah.
So a lot of people straight away.
That sounded like your conclusion.
No, not at all. No, not at all. But I'm saying it because it's true.
Okay.
Well,
okay, can I? Oh, you want to go?
Yeah, I think very soon we should conclude about this topic. What do you guys think?
Okay, let me finish this one before you go.
No, I'm just not. I'm just saying we should kind of adjourn. But as far as the topic is concerned, I think what I can gather from all of us, what we're saying is the most important things in life are things that we should really consider the most important things in life. When we're growing up, they told us.
And the modern,
did you hear?
And the modern men, they lack the knowledge of knowing what is
Correct.
Exactly.
Empty vessels make the loudest noise.
Thank you very much.
Have you heard that? It's like,
Yes.
I think I heard that growing up in Nigeria.
Yes.
But things that have substance, they don't make noise.
Yes.
But they're the most valuable things.
Okay, can I add something? LD touched on a lot of stuff. Yeah, but I'm gonna look straight to the camera and pin on one. The one I'm gonna pin on is this. What does the modern man lack is our topic. The modern men like the women that can support them.
That's a.
Now,
Yeah.
if you're gonna go there,
I'm going there now.
That's okay.
Don't laugh. I know he's there.
No. Go there though.
The modern men, they lack support. They lack emotional support. They lack moral support. They lack the ride and die kind of game support. My mom supported my dad through thick and thin. A lot of women of that era supported their men through thick and thin. They didn't pick their men because of materialistic stuff or what they picked based on potential. When Michelle Obama got with Barack Obama, Obama was not the president. Obama was not a millionaire. Michelle got with Barack based on intelligence and potential that she saw in Barack. Am I making sense? So today the question I'm gonna ask the women out there is, what are you basing your when you pick? What do you base? What is the parameter? What are you weighing the man before you pick? Let me finish.
Okay.
Give me a second. Because until the women stop picking based on the car he pulled up in, which you don't know if it's his car or his mom's car or his friend's car, and stop picking based on the kind of wristwatch you saw him wearing or the kind of Jordan you saw, you don't know who bought those Jordan. It might be another woman like you that bought that Jordan. Am I making sense?
You're making
right?
sense,
Yes.
yeah.
Until the women now start picking based on sitting a guy down and finding where his brain is, or where his brain is going. What is his vision? What is his goal? Do you understand what I'm saying? What kind of upbringing do you have? What do you bring to the table? Right? If the car you're driving now crash, how do you get another one? Do you understand what I'm saying? Or what is your plan in the next 10, 15, 20 years? I don't think even those kind of conversations do come up nowadays.
Can I just...
You know what I'm saying?
No,
So the women, what do the modern men lack? The modern men lack those kind of women like the Michelles, the Winnie Mandelas,
Ride or die chicks.
the ride of that chicks, the Larry Clinton that can bring them, see them up, because you can get a guy that's useless. A woman can come in and change his life.
Yeah.
Do we have those kind of women? Are they still available? That's what the modern men lack.
It's proven, and it's a fact that women psychologically, sociologically, they need and want a man that is going to be there to provide for them. It's known.
True.
But to add to what Pascal is saying, all these women talking about, I want to settle down. I want to find a man so I can settle down. I want this so I can settle down. My sister, have you settled down? Have you yourself settled down?
Wow.
You want to settle down with something. You yourself have not gotten. Michelle had to be Michelle before she can be with a Barack.
An Obama. Wow.
And you have to.
I didn't understand
Are
the
you?
English. Spell the English again. He said Michelle.
Michelle needs to be Michelle before Michelle can be with a Barack.
Now let me say this.
Michelle is the reason why, I would say a good chunk of the reason why he got to where he is today.
Now let me say this.
And also one more thing, I know the flip side to it, I'm almost done, is y'all know, and you guys have more experience with this, a good woman is the exact opposite of a bad woman. So if you have a bad woman in your life, everything will just be going haywire.
Wow.
Your life will destroy.
I've had a couple of bad women before. So
When you have a good woman,
I have a couple of
your life
I
is
have
just soaring this way.
It's the same thing my father told me.
Hey, don't have to think what you said.
Yeah.
Okay. I've been around the block, you all know that. I have a couple of good women in my life, and I have a couple of bad women in my life too. So, what Enyi is saying is, the gospel truth and the nothing but the truth. So, what do modern men lack? We lack good women.
Let me say something.
But you get what I'm trying to
add
say.
what he said.
Yeah, you get what I'm trying
Let
to
me
say.
go back to something that you said.
Yeah.
Right? You mentioned, have you settled before you try to settle?
Settle, yeah.
It goes back to what, for some reason, this society is trying to deny, and I don't know why. It goes back to the father in the household.
Amen.
Because when you want to settle with a man who is not raised by his father, who is always, let's just call it what it is. These days, men become men pretty late because they are not raised to be men, so they have to actually become physical, broad shoulders, and make quite a lot of mistakes to actually get to the point of being a man after they've learned from mistakes, instead of somebody to help them. And the same goes to the woman who's trying to settle, because she's probably not raised by a father, and she's looking for someone to show her love.
Yeah, because of her
Looking
dad.
for love in all the wrong places, basically. But,
Looking for love with Floyd Mayweather.
oh God.
Instead of
And to kind of go to what you said, though.
yeah.
To connect what you said.
No, we're looking for love with Floyd Mayweather.
Instead
But
of-
whereas there's a young African American lecturer or in a school who's teaching in a university that's single, that's chasing a woman, that you will leave that, but you will not give. Hold on, I'm coming. You will not give that young African American lecturer a chance because you want Floyd Mayweather. Now I want to ask you a question. Why do you want Floyd Mayweather to be your baby dad instead of, or to be the father of your children instead of this young lecturer in the university?
Let me say something.
Am I asking a question? Go ahead.
Let me say something to what you said about men not having ride or die chicks. I'm going to be quite honest. This is the generation of, we see all the fish in the sea.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to be real with you. There are girls who are down to be your ride or die.
They really are. They're really
They're
are.
really down.
I got one now.
Exactly. And I'm not going to front as if the fact that we can see all the fish in the sea does not strain that relationship. It's a mental training of telling yourself a bird in hand is worth two in the bush. Like, it's really, really hard. And I'm not going to front. These days, the girls who actually ride for you go through a lot of hell. Because there is, especially if you're a guy, if you're a man with your head on your shoulder, and you have focus and you have a goal, and you actually show that you grow, there are a lot of women, you mentioned it before we even started shooting this earlier. There are girls that just want to be associated with you for the rest of your life because they know you're going somewhere. For the wrong reasons, and they're not even there ever. They just want to have their name next to you because it's valuable. So,
I just want to say this.
Okay.
If a lot of these women that have had fathers in their lives and have fathers that taught them, because there's certain things, and the thing about it is, a lot of women don't want to admit this. Yes, your mother is going to teach you things that a dad can't teach you, but there's things that your father is going to teach you about men, about how you're supposed to be treated. Because a woman be like, my daddy didn't treat me like that. My daddy taught me better than that. I ain't gonna, my daddy this, my daddy that. When you talk about your daughter, you already teaching your daughter, yo, this is how you behave. This is how we interact.
Just your presence.
So when you grow up and you deal with a man, be like, look, I don't even need it. You do your thing, you're a man, do your thing, give you your space, because you taught her before she even knew what it was. Some of these women don't even know what that is. So when they get a little bit of piece of brokenness of a man, they'll take it. They don't know the difference.
Okay. And again, the brokenness of a man.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's conclude.
Okay.
Please go.
In my conclusion, what do modern men lack? Modern men lack a lot. And for us to get that, that's the reason why God created Adam and then know that Adam needed help and created Eve.
Amen.
Right, so one of the things that the modern men lack now, we lack the Eve, even though Eve led Adam to sin. But that Eve represents, she represents something.
His missing rib.
Missing rib, right? So the modern men lack those kind of women that can come and say, hey, you're a mechanic, I would love you as a mechanic, but I want you to become a mechanical engineer. Am I making sense? So who can now take you from your mechanic uniform, put you back to school? Instead of you fixing cars, you learn how to actually make cars. The modern men don't have that anymore. The modern men lack, vision. And like the Bible says, a nation without vision will always perish. The modern man lack vision. Another thing that the modern man lack is discipline.
Oh, say that one more time.
Discipline, yeah.
That's a big one, man.
Yeah. The modern man lack discipline. They lack discipline in the sense that discipline tells you that there should be a game on, but if you have to go to work, shut that TV off and go to work.
I feel you with that F-bomb. I feel you.
I'm being real. So the modern man lack discipline to understand that if you're hungry and you only have $2 in your pocket, do not go to a restaurant that is going to be $20 so that you don't be negative. Rather go to a grocery store and figure out how to make food for $2 for you and your wife or you and your children. Don't go and eat and come back and start trouble at home. They lack that. Another thing that the modern men lack is patience. They want it overnight. Rome was not built in a day. So consistency. When we were in theater school, there was one thing they taught us that we have to acquire and make it a part of us for us to survive and succeed. And that is commitment, dedication, and consistency. The modern men, once they try one small thing, when they open up a shop, they try it's not working, instead of them to dig it out, they will close it and go try another thing. They don't stay in nothing too long. They don't have the patience. Just like they don't have the patience to date one woman and figure out how to deal with that woman, they think that jumping to the next woman is going to bring them angel. So the modern man lacks patience. Another thing that the modern man lack is they believe in a higher power. They believe in God. So the women out there, don't judge them and kill them. Bring them close. Because once you get them close, where you can tap into their soul and their spirit, you can adjust them to what you want.
And this is for a good woman.
I think it has already concluded for all of us. Is there anything else to say?
That's my conclusion.
Didn't you guys say
I'm just kidding. Okay.
So in my conclusion, final conclusion is this. The modern men need help. Help us. Thank you.
I'm the host. I'm the brunt topic here, so let me go last.
But I'm the conclusion.
In my conclusion, I think for some reason I'm becoming an advocate of this. I don't know why, because I feel as if on social media, on everything in the United States of America, there's this. It's almost like there's a pledge to just destroy men. I don't know where it's coming from, but everything about a man is negative.
Especially the black man.
The black man, just break men down to the bottom.
Yeah.
I sit and laugh though because the line is the line is the line, and it's never going to change.
Yeah.
Ever. So I think when we go back to the foundation of what is valuable, as he mentioned, discipline. Stop eating pork. Stop eating cheese. Work out. Get in shape. And I mean that wholeheartedly, because it's not just all these things that slow you down.
It's true.
Mental, clear your mind, have swagger and ego. It's okay.
If you're African, too much fufu can make you sleep.
Relax, chill out. Get in shape, stop being sluggish. Pornography, cut it out. I'm serious. I'm not joking, because
No, go ahead.
I'm dead serious.
Richie,
And
bro.
the reason why I'm saying this is because it is not something that it's a true statement about being able to be one with your mind, body, and soul. As a man, it's extremely important. Going back to being fearful of a higher power, respect the fact that there is something greater than you. Have vision, right? Respect your mother. Because when you respect your mother, you respect other girls. Do not fall for these club thotties.
No.
Stop letting these girls of no value
Decide who you are.
take your time.
We get caught up in the visuals and all
The
that.
visuals, all of that, it's cool.
It's cool.
I fantasize over it all the time, but as soon as it starts getting close and I understand that it doesn't have a brain, it actually starts getting irritating, right? So cut the useless purchases that don't add any value to your pocket. Think like, as he said, buy things or get things that have interest. But there's so many different things that we can go into. Have discipline. I'm not acting like I have all of this, but every day I wake up, the goal is to better myself.
To try to be better.
To listen to people who've experienced life, to find a mentor, find your father. If you don't have a father, find somebody who will guide you to a better space. But it's extremely important for society to have strong men. There is nothing that they can say to convince me that a man's role is not important. It is extremely important for society to have strong, logical thinking, brilliant, intelligent men in it. And I'll leave it at that.
And just to continue from that, you see what was happening when we don't have those things. You see what's going on when we don't have men that respect themselves. I think the most important thing is having your own set of standards for yourself as a man. Because in order for you to say, I don't want to eat these things, and I want to exercise, I want to be a better person, you need to respect yourself and say, hey, I deserve better. My worth is better than that. I'm better than that. And then you won't even want to deal with some of these thoughts. You'll be like, man, I can't even deal with that because I'm of a different standard, And don't get it twisted. I'm a man. We're all men. We can all easily at any point, if we're not up on our game, fall for the visuals, fall for all that stuff. Is this what it is? Is this life? I understand that. Some of the biggest and the greatest minds have fallen. But it's about going back to the foundation of who you are as a man. Some of y'all don't even know who you are. You may want to dig into that as well. Find out whatever your mess is, whatever your brokenness is. I know I have to do the same thing for myself. Find that, find your worth, and you will eventually start to be a better person. You want to be better. You want to grow and be better. You want more for yourself. So that's pretty much what I have to say, because we touched on everything else.
And before you go, can I add something to my conclusion?
No.
Please. Just
One sentence. Okay.
The one sentence is this: know your value.
Yeah, know your worth.
And sorry to add one before you go. We love you. We love you. We
Drake.
love you. We love you.
Okay.
One thing I read somewhere was to kind of counter off what he said. You won't fall when you're not on your game. You tend to fall. Stones don't destroy empires. Peaches do. And I'll leave it at that.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Well, I feel like I just came out of church, man. You guys are amazing. This is
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Can we take a note for now?
No.
Okay.
Wow, this is a great episode. This is a great topic, guys. I'm very glad and happy that you guys are pretty much, honestly, I mean this in the most serious way, have pretty much concluded for me. I'm just gonna say thank you for all your conclusions, and definitely we as men, we've been through things to get to where we are, and definitely having a role model is key. paramount, mandatory. We put our lives here on the line by telling you what we've gone through. There's a reason for all that. We're not telling you guys things just to blow our ego or to make us feel better. We're better than anybody else. No, that's not what it's all about. Definitely, I had a higher power than me growing up. I'm very grateful and glad the way I was raised in the church, Christian home, to fear God and to. I've read the Bible back and forth from Genesis to Revelation a couple times. Okay, I know Scripture, but the thing about this whole thing is, I had mentors. I read books like Norman Vincent Peale, things that are positive. People like Zig Ziglar, you know, I love their quotes, I love their sayings. Try to align yourself with things that are positive in life.
Amen.
Because as human beings, as we are spirit beings, first of all, I don't care if you're Muslim, if you're Christian, if you're atheist or whatever, but there is a power higher than you. You know, when you think like this, when you have this understanding that you are not just here for no reason, that your life, if you have that understanding that you matter, and that if you have that understanding that you matter, then there's no way you will not, want to better yourself and your environment.
Yeah.
You know, well, I'm a father. And having a daughter really changed my life. It changed my life tremendously.
I always say, I'm not gonna lie, I always pray to God that I have a daughter because I feel like that would be the first time I have a heart. I don't know.
It would totally revolutionize your life.
Amen.
Oh, it's a different
I kid you not.
I know.
I kid you not.
Amen.
And
People have been telling you they love you, right? But
to the
when you say your daughter say you.
Amen.
I'm to the point that little one can get anything out of me now, Well, that's a different
I've seen it actually. She was like, Dad, I want 9 popsicles. You're like, Daddy, 9 popsicles. Yeah, I was 10.
Anyway, on a more serious note. Anyway, so definitely, how can we as men
The modern
be the modern man? What's the topic? You guys just told me this.
What is the modern man like?
What is the modern man like? Thank you very much. What is the modern man like? I think we've touched on a lot of things, even though this topic is all very deep. Modern man likes everything we've talked about and more. But the main thing is, we're going somewhere in life. I was really disappointed that a 50-something-year-old man melted when it comes to talking to a female. Wow, he lacks confidence. Wow, modern men. I guess one of the reasons why men buy a lot of the gadgets is to boost their egos and their confidence. So that's misplacing your priorities right there.
Yeah.
But anyways, I'm not gonna kill this. We've already talked about it. We've concluded about it. APT.
But hold on. Modern men like food. Feed the modern men.
Yeah. You need to be cooking all the people in this
Good for the modern men.